Chair.
I call the Township of Aleppo Commissioners meeting of April 15th, 2024 to order at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones.
Present.
Vice President Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Darrow.
Present.
Commissioner Halupka. Solicitor Stone.
Here.
Manager Patterson.
This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the April 8th, 2024 workshop meeting minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Chief?
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
For the month of March, we had a total of 54 calls. 27 of those were EMS assists, or call-outs, excuse me, animal complaints, residential burglar alarms, business alarms, a few hang-up 911 calls. Those happen. We had a few suspicious person incidents, like 3 of them. They were all worked out, workers in the area, general things like that. Nothing to be concerned about. The only theft that was reported was out of the Amazon facility here, which our detectives looked into and I think are going to file charges on, but nothing major that affects the community. We had 6 traffic citations, 1 traffic complaint, and like I said, total 54 calls. Of things of note, not that it affects you guys as much, but Swickley Bridge will be closing down Friday the 19th for a couple weeks. So, you know, hopefully that won't affect you guys as much at all. The next is, it is solicitor season. So we've already had major complaints throughout most of our jurisdictions so far, none in Aleppo, for solicitors, but if you do have somebody knocking on your door, they should have gone through a permitting system through our department. Of course, we'd let Aleppo know that there's permits been granted in the area because they have to pay for the fee. We have an official looking card on them that they get a permit for. It's a laminated card with my signature on it, their picture on it, all that, saying that they're permitted to solicit. If somebody's knocking on your door and they are trying to sell you something, the first question should be, do you have a permit? Because we'd like to know, the community needs to know. We don't want anybody getting scammed, getting from door to doors, right? So if they don't, you call 911, let our officers deal with it. They'll be, told how to get a permit or told to leave the area. So that's about all that I have. Any questions or concerns for me?
Always the same. Anything we can do for you?
No, it's the weather's breaking. I know speeding is going to be the top thing of everybody's concern. The weather broke, speeding, all that. I understand that. We hope to be getting back out there and trying to enforce. We've got 6 citations for last month, so we'll get out there and do what we can.
And we did, for the communications thing I mentioned last week, another complaint about the vans, the Amazon vans picking up the use of red gate again.
Okay.
So there've been, they.
Using it.
Uptick in, yes, uptick in them using it, so.
Okay. I will email Chaz.
Yep,
And see what we can try to address it.
yep.
Can only stay on top of it. Anything else from you? Questions, concerns? No?
Anything else?
Sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you, Chief.
Emergency Management,
No report?
Public Works.
Good evening, Tim Scott, Public Works Department. The 2007 dump truck is finally gone. They finally came and picked it up. We've been doing a lot of, as you can imagine, storm cleanup lately. We had to close a few roads for about a day. And we've been monitoring an issue on Rhodes Avenue, which Gwen has the pictures of. I'm sure she showed them to you. Other than
Is
that,
that storm related,
pardon me?
the situation on roads, is that?
I think some of it is because of the large amounts of water that we've been getting.
We talked about it this morning, we'll get some lists together, yeah.
Other than that, that's about it. Any questions?
Any questions? I understand the engineers are coming on Wednesday.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Communications, we're going to include the citizens that are here.
Can we go back to Public Works and do that motion?
Yes?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Do I hear a motion to accept the proposal from HRG?
So moved. Second.
You got that one, Patty?
Yes.
Any discussion?
I'll just say that this motion is to accept the proposal from HRG Engineers for the 2024 Tar and Chip Road project and authorizing HRG to solicit bids for the project.
Good. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any citizens that are here that would like to be part of the agenda now, please? And please introduce yourself.
My name's Russ Morrow. I live at the corner of Redgate and Rhodes Avenue. I'm here to try to see what we need to do to curb the water coming off of Redgate onto my property, my neighbor's property, flooding the area and then following my walkway down through my driveway to a drain that only has a little 4-inch pipe in it. And I'm taking on water every time we get big rains. Normally, the water should stay on the other side of the road because that's where all the catch basins are on Redgate. But it's crossing over because of debris and that's collected there. And it kicks across the road, and on the other side of the road, there's no curb. So it just comes right off the edge of the road. And Tim can tell you how much gravel they clean off the road there every time it rains. And lately, he hasn't been able to clean the corner of Redgate and Rhodes because it doesn't get that far. It's in my yard instead. So I'm hoping that we can either get the municipality of Aleppo to contact the state. I know it's a state road and normally you can't do anything to it. But maybe they'll allow you to do some quick repairs, stopgap repairs, just until they can get to it. I don't know. I mean, and I wouldn't mind having a number or email thing that I can also bug them.
I think Manager Patterson and I talked about this. Of course, we will support you in an
Yeah.
effort to get PennDOT to move.
Yeah.
So you can figure out what the best support is. And Tim, you're certainly allowed to take a good look, see if there's anything.
I already did.
Yeah.
Part-
I mean, the guardrails it just keeps rinsing out where the guardrails pretty soon they're gonna be dangling like this.
They send a lot of.
I sent some photos I
so
took.
That'll help
Yeah.
us.
Just to.
Well, I think a
Or
package should be
PennDOT.
put together to send to PennDOT and
All they need to do is put the curb back. There used to be a curb there for the longest time. So it would just come right down and it would go right in the drain. Now, when they did the road over again, we even asked them, make sure you put the curb up. Well, they put it partway down and then they didn't put it from that driveway that comes all the ways down Furers. That's where we get a lot of water from too. They should have a drain right at the end of their driveway or something, because you used to get all the gravel there from their driveway. And if they put that curb back, no one would get water again. I mean, we lived here 44 years, and we've never had as much water as we've had probably the past 4 years. And a lot of it comes from that driveway, because there's no drains going down in there at all.
The drain's above the driveway, it's not below it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it needs to be
the one
below.
that is there is above the
Yeah.
ground. So,
so Manager Patterson, you can work with the Morrows to put together a packet.
all right, appreciate it, thank you.
We've had some pretty recent communications with PennDOT, and they've been pretty successful. So
Good.
we'll hope.
Hopefully we can get, I mean, even if they just put a curb there for now, until they can address the other, I mean, that's what they need to do, is get the water to stay on the other side of the road and go into the drains that are, catch basins that are there. But
Well, then I think we should put that in the request.
Yeah, that's, we
All right,
sent
thank you.
Gwen
Oh, thank
all
you.
kind of pictures and that of it, so she can, I mean, if she even, I can come up tomorrow
We can
and
let
show you exactly
Mhm.
what to do. But it's just like, that water, we know that there was a lot of rain for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the first one, we only had like the one-car garage get flooded up to my ankles. But then on Thursday, we had
The whole
the
basement.
whole basement and the garage. Plus, we cleaned it up, plumber came, did what he needed to do, and it was what, an hour or two later, it flooded all again, everything. So we did double cleanup in one day, and I was not happy about that.
Oh, sure.
And I mean, it was just like Niagara Falls coming down, and we just couldn't stop it.
And Tim, at your discretion, if there's something simple that can be done, I'm just saying.
We could, there's a couple things we could try,
Okay.
We'll talk to PennDOT, like,
but.
You make sure, I mean, make sure the catch basins are all cleaned out, right?
Well, they are.
Okay.
They are, because nothing's going to them.
They're fine, right?
Yeah.
No problem, right, okay.
Well,
Just-
thank you very much.
Well, sure. Anything else on this subject?
That's a big no.
Chris? Remember to introduce yourself.
Well, I know that. Christopher Grimm, off of 1255 Merriman Road. I'm here for the residents and neighbors on between Merriman and Nancy Drive. We're tired of these cats. They're becoming an issue. It's been the last 3 years since she owned the house off of Nancy, 111 Nancy Drive. I have a petition here, I'll give it to Gwen. A couple of the signatures from the neighbors that are getting tired of the cat urine, the cat feces. They can't have plants, can't have anything in your yard or anything like that. Okay, the township does have an ordinance, 203 or 20301, and it's about ordinance about cats and other animals and deers. So what she does is feed the animals, leaves the food there at night. There is water there too. So, you know, if it was a dog situation, we wouldn't be having this much of a
Just 1
problem.
minute.
Go ahead.
She,
Kathy.
okay. Thank you.
So, she's been having the cats there for longer than she owned the property. So I've heard that she's planning to sell the house and the neighbor across from her is going to start feeding the cats and taking care of the cats. And then I got word that Masonic actually has houses for the cats on their property. So they have currently maybe 2 or 3 houses on their porch, well, not porch, but their exit part on the cemetery side that the cats can go in, whatever. So I know the employees are feeding them and stuff like that. We're just getting tired of having the cats and everything being around everywhere. And like I said, there's currently an ordinance. It was signed by the commissioners and the president. It was 16th of January 2003. So there is a technically ordinance about all these stray cats. We don't care about the cats. If you want to fence them in, that's fine. But it's to the point where, you know, neighbors around there, they cannot plant anything, you're walking through it. You know, if it was just on her property, and if, you know, she's planning to sell it, somebody else is going to take it over. And like I said, now Masonic is getting involved with it. The employees there are currently having boxes. And like I said, once you walk up there, the cats are actually following you. We were up there one night walking, and I was like, wasn't too sure if it was true. There is a black and white cat, very friendly, but it looked like on its nose like it was bleeding or something. But I was told over Nancy, she has found 7 dead cats. So we don't know what's causing them to die, if it's the old age or whatnot. But we don't want this to keep on going on. It's been long enough, but now you're going to start having, you know, the older residents at Masonic, if something happens to them passing on whatnot in life, the family's going to say, okay, we'll just let these cats out because there's residents taking care of them. Then it's just going to be another big issue again. And like I said, she's owned that property for 3 years now, and it's been going on, you know, longer than that. So my question too is wondering, you know, I mean, like I said, there's an ordinance against it, and if it was a dog issue, you know, that dog issue would be already taken care of. But this is a cat issue, and then it's causing with the deers coming there, raccoons coming there, so that goes under wildlife. And she says it's not her cats. I said, okay, then quit feeding them. That is one way we're going to start getting rid of them, but we can't keep on having people dropping them off. I've helped her in the past, maybe like last year, the one on the house on the corner that Masonic actually bought. We actually got the cat out, and she brought it down to one of the shelters and found out it was chipped from Aliquippa. So somebody literally brought it up here to drop it off.
Manager Patterson, how has our cat neuter return
Well, I don't know if they've done more than what they have submitted receipts for. We know that there have been, I think, 3 that were caught neutered, you know, TNR, that trap, neuter, and return. And if you see a cat with an ear that's tipped, like a notch cut off the ear, that means that cat is fixed, because that, they do that when they do these programs. So if you see cats with tipped ear, they're not breeding.
Are you aware of that, Chris? I mean, it might.
Yes,
might not
I'm
make a
aware of
cat,
that, and I've been,
3 cats out of 20.
but I'm aware that the taxpayers are paying for the cat issue that is on her property, and she's feeding them. That's not right as a taxpayer. I mean, and then I know everybody else in the township, if they know they're being taxed for this, to take control of a cat issue she's feeding, okay, she says it's not hers, but once you feed and give it a home of a shelter, you should be responsible for it,
And
correct?
Number 2, did we know of the Masonic involvement prior to this?
I know that there have been employees at Masonic who share the sympathies of taking care of cats. I do not believe that it's an official Masonic position. I think it's probably likely staff members who go in that area.
Well, if I recall, Masonic management was to speak to those employees
Yes.
to tell them to stop, and obviously they're not stopping.
They did speak to them. It was a very sensitive way of saying, use of words, in my opinion. I would have said, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. But yes, they did speak with them. However, keep in mind, we have about an 80-person turnover every year. So from between at that time and this time, that's about 160 new people that don't know about it. So we have to do it again. I'll be happy to talk to Eric and whoever else you contacted.
Mr. Solicitor, what does the ordinance allow us to do in both situations?
I haven't looked at it in a while. I remember we dealt with it in the context of feeding deer, and I know we made it a prohibited activity to feed the deer for the same reason, so you're right. I don't know offhand what that 2000.
Yeah, these are for a different ordinance.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if it is illegal under the ordinance to be feeding stray cats, and it's that simple, we'll certainly look into a notice of violation for that.
Chris, I spent a lot of energy trying to deal with how to get rid of the cats, et cetera. We went the route of biohazard, we went the route of not safe, we went the route of none of which is possible to do. There's nothing that you can do to go in and take cats away, or I went through every, you know what I went through. I went through every agency that I could
Yeah,
find to do
you
that.
went to County Health, right?
Yes, I went to Allegheny County Health, I went to Humane Societies, I went all over the place for this same issue. But certainly the feeding approach to it is another way to maybe attack it.
Chris, did you read the entire ordinance?
I was reading through it yesterday, taking notes, whatever. The one neighbor actually just Googled it, and that's how he found it. He forwarded it to me as a text, and I wanted to make sure I was able to get everybody's signature. So I was going around trying to get the people that I know would actually sign and be kind of involved with the situation.
What's the date of it?
2003, 2023.
Oh, 2023.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the deer
that's the deer that's the deer ordinance.
But it does have cats and dogs into
Oh,
it.
no,
But that one we're more familiar with, that's why I'm
Right.
going,
2003.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah,
2003,
I wasn't born yet.
I don't remember
I guess
2000. But 2023, that's definitely the deer feeding
Yes.
ordinance, and you're saying included cats and
Cats
dogs?
and dogs.
Okay, so
That's enforceable.
we need to look at that, and I'll look at that, and if it's applicable, it sounds like it is, we can send a notice of violation to a property owner. But again, if the property owner's response is, they're not my cats, I'm not feeding them, it's gonna be a matter of, from an evidentiary point of view, it's gonna be a matter of catching, no pun, catching the property owner in the act of feeding or putting out the food. And it's possible, I mean, it's not impossible, it can be done, but I think we need to look more closely at the ordinance. But yeah, I do recall drafting that, and I do recall it having it making the conduct of feeding the animal illegal.
And specifically kittens draw coyotes.
Yeah.
Which was my concern, because kittens, having kittens in a community.
Well, that's the thing
are
is,
food
we
supply.
don't want to see anything, but we're just to the point where we walk outside, you smell cat urine. Like, we don't, I have a cat, it goes outside every once in a while, but it's like when you walk outside, you have the high aroma of a cat urine. It's just to the point where it's like, it gets very frustrating, because it's like, okay, you say you don't own the cats, but you feed the cats, but technically if you own, say you feed and shelter, and you're technically owning them.
Oh, but this ordinance is specifically, that would define if she doesn't own those cats, that makes them feral cats, which makes them wild, which.
But it's
puts them
it's the same thing as deer. The deer don't belong to anybody either.
Right.
The idea is you're attracting them
Yes.
onto your property.
It
Yeah.
says here, I pulled up the deer ordinance, because once you said that, I can get to that one. It says, chapter 123, article 2, all this stuff, of the Aleppo Code of Ordinances, animal nuisances. So it's referencing the animal nuisance ordinance from like 1955 or whatever, and it's saying
Okay.
that was amended to include prohibiting feeding deer. So that's the reference. So we have to go back to the animal nuisances ordinance. It says, which prohibits the keeping or harboring of any dog, cat, or other animals so as to create offensive odors, excessive noise, or unsanitary conditions posing a menace to the health, safety, and of the township. So it's that standard.
What are the teeth?
Well, it's an ordinance violation, so it'd be a citation at the magistrate. The code enforcement officer would issue a citation, a non-traffic citation, and then they would go to the magistrate.
I should wake somebody up.
I have a low speed bump to bring up, all right? If you go to, on Masonic, most of the women who were feeding the cats were in buildings 1 and 2. They're no longer with us. However, the ordinance is you have to go to the property owner, it goes to Eric.
Sure.
And then all he can do is write a very stern note or a nice note or whatever kind of a note and inform them that.
But he can also deal with his employees.
Yeah, right. We, as I recall, we didn't have any, the last time around, we didn't have any problems with the employees. Because quite frankly, they were glad to see anything taken for the deer because of the debris that they leave behind.
Well, again, there's the citation, but there's also the evidentiary issue, which is if they're not feeding the cats anymore at Masonic, then that's not going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's the act of putting out food,
Yeah.
which is the problem.
Well, I can't say they're not feeding it because it's different people in those buildings, but you're talking about 160 apartments.
No, again, if someone gets caught in the act of feeding the animal, that becomes a
Yeah.
problem. But
Okay.
that,
Well, and the
again,
fact that
that's.
people are looking is in and itself a deterrent. The notification that if they get caught in the act, it's enforceable is a deterrent.
Right.
So
That-
it's like I'm
right.
trying to tell you,
So
I would
the-
take some pictures.
What's that?
I would take pictures.
Oh, I have, everybody, she even notices when she walks on the cats and everything.
At least you have that,
No, taking the
Oh, well,
owner
then
feeding.
Oh, that's
that's what
no
I mean.
problem, I
At
could
least
do
you
that.
know that she's feeding and you
Yeah.
have something to.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, because, again, you sort of have to catch them in the act.
Oh, that's the easiest thing to do.
All right, just saying.
Well, then what I was talking about is if you, on the other side of where the cemetery is, there's where they walk out, they have like these little cat houses. I don't know if there's any food there or whatnot, because I wasn't walking fully onto technically Masonic property. I was just,
They have cat houses on Masonic property or in the cemetery?
no, where the cemetery is, you have the road, but there's an entrance in and out door where the employees go in and out for smoking, I guess. Right on that little cement pad there's.
So on Masonic property,
Correct,
they have cat houses
correct,
for feral cats.
correct. And there is a white one that actually walks around, is very, very friendly. We were walking around and I told her don't touch it or whatever and try to ignore it so he doesn't follow us home.
Okay, now the other thing, we don't,
It's the driveway, I mean, I don't know the name of the road going in, it comes up and dead ends into at the cemetery.
Correct, it's where you go back to the loading dock
Yeah.
for where
And then you have
Valley used to
loading docks,
be.
and then you have the hospital, nursing facilities.
Correct, where they have the little garage thing too.
Yeah.
Beside Masonic, there's
Okay, I'll
a,
take a walk,
you know,
I'll be back at you.
Gwen, who's the code enforcement officer?
We are in transition with one right now,
Okay,
but we have, someone that we hope is going to be throwing their hat in the ring very soon.
okay, so, again, I just want to make another point. To your point, just because there's a violation, you don't have to start with a citation. You can start with a visit, you can start with a letter, and again, to your point, Commissioner Haluka, again, you can put people on notice that unless they take action within a certain amount of time, you will issue a citation. So you don't have to start by issuing the citation. You can gradually, you know.
On the basis of a complaint like this made, does the code enforcement officer have the ability to do an inspection?
Yes, absolutely. Now, it's kind of up in the air how far onto property the code enforcement officer is allowed to go without a magistrate's, what do they call it? A magistrate's
Warrant?
warrant, thank you. Yeah, but in the worst case, if the property owner is not otherwise amenable, you can get a warrant from the magistrate to go on the property for a health and safety violation. So that's,
Okay, so Solicitor Stone is going to review the ordinance. Manager Patterson will work with everybody to try and get evidence. We'll see where it goes.
sounds good to me. Even just sending a letter, just saying, hey, this, like he's stating there, that, you know, it can be, you know, looked at and you can be fined, whatever circumstances that can happen. It might actually get this ball rolling more than just like it has been the last several
Mark,
years.
Are you gonna speak to Eric?
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Chris.
Hey, thank you.
Conferences as we go toward the dining room.
Yeah, I speak to him too, so I just wanted
Other
to
than
make
that,
sure
we
that
don't.
somebody was doing it.
Anything else?
Okay.
Okay, planning and zoning,
Never.
tax collector treasurer.
You have hit Clay's report in your packet. Hold up. We are through March, so this is a report through March, so, basically, real estate taxes are just coming in. We got a little bit in March that didn't make it onto this report because he had to complete it early. But real estate taxes come in mostly in March and April, the bulk of them do, so they're not much is reflected on here, but they'll be coming in, they have started to come in. And you'll see that on the graph here. Last year's real estate taxes, we had a lot more at this point, but that's because some of them aren't reflected on here and they are starting to trickle, and we got a lot of reports in April. So don't panic when you see that. Looks like we're not collecting, it's coming.
And Jordan will be here on the 24th.
Yes, correct. From 9 to 12.
Does that make up for the one missed invoice?
Yes.
Thank you.
He has it written on the back of his hand.
Anything else regarding the tax collector treasurer's report? Finance, do I hear a motion to approve the
I will
March?
make a motion to approve the March bill list in the amount of $25,867.80, to ratify March prepaid bills in the amount of $13,313.16, and to ratify March payroll transfers in the amount of $18,391.88.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Aleppo Township Authority,
No report.
Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority.
I actually do have a little report. Valley asked me to announce that they are doing a community-wide CPR class that everybody is welcome to attend. There is a cost, the Heart Association charges them for the cards and the stuff, but it's nominal, it's $25. That will train CPR for the community, so that's a good thing. And I wanted to share with you Quaker Valley numbers. 2023, they responded to 10,000, just over 10,000 calls. 7,000 of those were ambulance responses. 3,000 were wheelchair vans. In Aleppo, there were 509 ambulance calls. 350 of those were Masonic. 159 were township-wide. Valley, I also, after the concern about staffing, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what our situation was in this area. Valley is fully staffed. They have one basic EMT position opened. In fact, Valley decreased the number of mutual aid responses that they've had in the last year. Economy, who is a mutual aid close to here, is also in the same situation. So there are no staffing issues for EMS in our area.
Any questions?
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
When is the CPR class?
Wednesday, 4/17 at 6 p.m.
And it's on our website in the latest news section also, the details.
Thank you. Quaker Valley call.
No report. They're having our meeting.
Good. Mr. Solicitor?
Yeah, just one thing, I'm working on the agreement with the volunteer fire company, and Gwen sent me some additional comments, some revisions, and I'll be working on that, so I hope to have something for you by next month.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Solicitor? Unfinished business, Earth Day roadside cleanup.
This Saturday. Come one, come all.
I'm not gonna be there.
You stay home.
You'll be cleaning me up.
Exactly. This Saturday, come to the township at 9 a.m. And have donuts and coffee before we strike out with grabbers and gloves and safety vests to just do a little community service, picking up some stuff. We also do some stuff down in Glenfield too, by the exchange, or the interchange at 79, the exit, there's a lot of stuff down there, and Aleppo or not, we'll go down there too. So we go where the trash is, so that's this Saturday, so please just show up.
I've been here for the report, they pride themselves in the number of bags.
And we do, it's exciting, we count all the bags before we throw them away.
I know that's correct, too.
And Gwen drives one of the trucks.
Yeah.
Highlight of my year.
You get the
Tim, that's not fair. You wouldn't let me drive the bulldozer, you have Gwen driving the truck.
And I get scared every time she gets in it.
Hey!
Anything else about Earth Day? Zoning hearing board opening?
So we received another letter of interest for the zoning hearing board, and we think we might get another one coming. So hopefully by next month, we'll have, our total number of applicants for that, and then we can follow the normal procedure of inviting anyone who's interested to serve on a board to come to a meeting and introduce themselves, and that's what
And
we
what's
do.
our timeline again?
I think probably next month is when we would want to have them come in and introduce
Good.
themselves.
Workshop or legislative?
Depends on their availability, we kind of work with them, so.
New business. Apparently we have a donation request from the Aleppo Township Volunteer Fire Company.
So they do an annual fund drive every year, and we just got our letter, and the residents just got theirs. And for the record, last year, the board approved a $250 donation. This is outside of the service contract that we have with them, but just the volunteer, donation. So that's what happened last year.
Would we like to act on that tonight?
You could do that, or you could wait till I can, wait, is this a legislative meeting? It is. You could act on it tonight, or you could wait
This is the
till next month.
I would move that Aleppo Township make a $250 donation to the Aleppo Township Volunteer Fire Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Good. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And Commissioner Patterson, could you review a bit of the increased revenue we passed on to the volunteer fire department recently?
So part of what the new contract that the terms that the board already voted on, we're just finalizing the language of it, was to have their annual increase, contract increase go from 2% to 4%. And then in addition to that, the township has agreed to fund half of the new squad vehicles, so they'll be making 4 annual payments of, I think it's $22,500 to help fund the cost of that new vehicle. That is shared, that contribution is shared with Swiftly Heights. They've also made the same contribution.
All to a worthy cause.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Upcoming the Swickley Bridge closure, Chief has already advised us.
Yep, he advised us, but just so that everyone will hear that the Swickley Bridge is closing April 19th and it's supposed to be closed around the clock through April 29th, weather permitting. So it's a 10-day closure, starting at 7 p.m. on Friday and opening 6 a.m. Monday morning. And they provided a detour, which we will put on our website as well. I mean, anybody from around here knows what the detour is, but we'll list this. This will be on the website just in case, so we'll have that added.
Any further citizen participation?
You know, I was gonna have to talk to you, George. My name's Tammy Morrow. I'm on Redgate and Road Avenue corner. Gwen said something about the traffic. It's just not Amazon. It's when Masonic Homes gets out at 3 o'clock. They used to go down Dare Run Road, but I think they're ticketing down Dare Run Road. So now I think they're coming down Redgate Road because nobody's ticketing down Redgate Road. And it's gardening season now. And last year we had all those bottles and that thrown out all over the yard from Masonic Homes. So I'm just wondering if we can have maybe a patrol every now and then on our road again. And I even told them they can sit in our driveway. There's already lines in my driveway for them to ticket people coming down there. And they haven't been there since they put the lines on.
I think the answer is yes, and we established a random calendar, for lack of a better term, and a budget. So we just heard what you requested.
Okay. Now can I ask another question? Rhodes Avenue, it's splitting. What's going on there? The hillside sliding. I just noticed it today
On what?
on Rhodes Avenue. Did you see it?
Yeah, the road's cracking.
Yeah, what is that from?
Water.
Oh,
There's an underground spring that's coming through there.
well, I thought they put walls up there so that
The
wouldn't.
wall is further up the road. Now it's moving.
From the end of the wall down.
Yeah, from the end of the wall toward your house.
Okay,
We've done some geotechnical tests. The engineers are coming out to look again on Wednesday, so we're monitoring.
okay. I mean, it doesn't, I'm on Rhodes Avenue, but it doesn't affect me because I'm on the corner, thank goodness.
It's an
But
expensive road.
I feel sorry for, yeah, that road has been fixed so many times in the past. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Chris, anything else?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, well, we are then going to leave the meeting and enter into executive session. And the only thing that we will do after the executive session is adjourn. So if I can ask you all to give us the privacy.
So bye.
Get out of here.
Now.
Can't go back further
We
than
have
20
left
years.
executive session and we are now returning to the legislative meeting. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? We're adjourned.